Welcome to 3 on the Ones and Twos with your hosts, Tom, Cassie, and James. Just 3 old friends talking about their favorite records. Think of it as the coolest book club for music nerds.
Good evening, you beautiful, healthy, lovely cucumbers out there in the world. I sometimes feel like the luckiest man on earth with the friends that I've made over the years through this brotherhood and sisterhood of music, rock and roll, punk rock, whatever you want to call it. Partner in crime over there, Cassie. We are in a beautiful place tonight called The Sanctuary in Montgomery, Alabama. Playing the show, TCB, with great friends, The Abusements. And I'm going to introduce them in a second, but I just wanted to say, again, we're so lucky. Thank you, Greg, for your help, everyone behind the scenes, everyone for watching. And it's just a fun ride, you know? I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, Lyra and Jay, who are wonderful hosts and hospitable and talented artists and musicians, but also I'm just so stoked that over like the past 3 years we've just become really dear friends. So I'm going to pass the mic to Cassie, and then we're just going to let them, we're just going to say nice things and let them blush for 30 minutes.
Well, I actually met Jay first on Halloween in 2020
at a Weston Motel show.
No, I actually,
okay.
No, because my costume was such a pain. Remember, I got there late. I think you guys had just played like your last song or something. Right. So I met you at Casey and Allie's.
Yeah.
And
Casey
that's right.
Yarborough shout out, Allie Yarborough shout out. Nice achievement.
And I remember then I think I met Lyra. Your name had come up. I was like, she sounds really cool. And then I met you. I don't think I officially met you then until a few months after that.
And then there was a minute. It was a minute that maybe it
was.
And then there was a minute that, like, even though I was traveling for work, every time I was in town, which is like every 3 weeks, you happened to be in town. And we just saw each other a lot. Months, which nothing wrong with that.
Lyra just reminded me that it was at Boggs, and it was at your birthday. You had that birthday bash with you and Eric.
That's when I met Denise.
And
awesome. Shout out to the assistant. So say what else you want to say, and then let's.
Well, first I just want to say Lyra has become one of my favorite people in the world. What an incredible badass. You roller derby.
Cheers, guys.
And roller derbies and plays in a punk band and paints. I mean,
painted my face just now. Thank you.
So
unofficial GB.
Incredible.
BG butt grab.
Incredible human. I'm really excited to be here and get to do the episode.
And you look amazing.
Thank you. This is
such a cool costume.
It requires a lot of work, so I know
does.
it's probably not the most comfortable, and you might even be in a little pain, but it looks awesome.
But it's Halloween, and we're going to do this.
So what are we talking about?
What record are we talking about? What record did you pick?
I wonder.
It's in the bag. What?
The Misfits Static Age.
I love it.
What
it seems like this time of year, every human who has a heart and a heartbeat and is a good person, I think in October should just listen to this record more than ever.
What a fun record.
Yes.
What a fun record.
It's a great record.
I think who doesn't love just belting out, like just some of the most horrible lyrics you've heard, about killing babies.
Yeah.
But that's actually one of their best known songs.
And they created this whole thing of like horror. Right? So basically it's like a horror movie. Don't take it too seriously. B-movies, and it's like, I don't know. How many pictures have you seen of Glenn Danzig crying cat food? I doubt he's going to kill anybody.
Interestingly enough,
you know what I'm saying?
while researching this, I'm trying to remember which song, and I can't see anything with these contacts, but there was a song that was supposed to be called
Feline Nursery.
Feline Nursery.
It is Spinal Remain.
It is Spinal Remain.
Yeah.
And I guess,
I love Feline Nursery.
Which I think is so interesting about this. So first of all, I want to know why you pick, it's a great record, so I understand, but why? Right. What was it about this record?
Well, it's probably my favorite Misfits. What's weird about it though, it didn't really actually get released until the box set, which was in 1995, and I did get the box set back in 1995.
Also, why did you pick this? And did you have to get the approval from Jay, or is Jay just along for the ride?
Jay's
Talk
just
about it
along
with
for
you.
the ride.
He's along
He
for the
doesn't
ride.
even. He doesn't even like the Misfits.
Oh, come on.
I'm just
That's
playing.
a lie.
I'm just playing.
That is a lie.
lie.
That, I was like, I know that that's not true.
Yeah.
So which one would you have picked if you picked? I mean, full disclosure, I was like, Lyra has to do the Misfits. Like I knew that she loved the Misfits,
yeah.
so I was like, which Misfits record would you do? And she picked Static Age.
When you
Static
texted
Age.
me, I was like, yeah,
I mean,
of
of
course,
course.
no brainer. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is an incredible record. But which one would you have picked? This one as well?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the classics on it. But yeah, it
The
was.
cover is also so cool.
The cover is incredibly
The
cool.
cover, the
And I'll hold it up
faces,
again. Yeah.
yes.
What I think is, like, yes, it was recorded in '78. Poorly,
yeah.
apparently. Well, but
It
here's the
sat-
thing.
Yeah. It sat on the shelf for a long time.
It sat on the shelf, but the thing was, when they recorded it, like, I guess Danzig had, he had started something called Blank Records, and then, was it Mercury, that wanted to put Pure Ubu out on Blank Records, so they wanted the name, and Danzig had trademarked it, so they exchanged like 20 or 30 hours of,
yeah.
like, in the studio to get the name of Blank Records, and then he changed it to Plan 9 Records.
Yeah.
But because of that, they had
Up until not so long ago, he even put some records out on that still, right?
on Plan 9, maybe.
Oh yeah.
But he but so because of that, they got the studio time,
So
free
it was
studio
all
time.
recorded in 30 hours. the whole
Yeah,
thing.
and like, well,
Yeah.
I think according to Jerry Only, like, because he worked in his dad's machine shop or something, which he made decent money, I guess, and so he contributed some of the money for a little bit extra when they went over. But then when they tried to push it to, or promote it to labels,
No one
everybody was
wanted
like, I'm not going to touch that.
Maybe partially because of Last Caress.
I mean,
The
there's a
lyrics.
lot of,
But it's such a good song.
It is such a, well, I mean, because
We
you
may even
can't,
do it later.
I
You
hope
can't-
y'all do.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't help but sing along to that when you're just like, I got something to say.
Yeah, I love
What's
it.
weird about Last Caress is it came out, really, it seems as if the Metallica version of Last
Kind of
Caress
brought the attention
came
to.
out before. The only time you could have heard Last Caress before Metallica released it was on, I think they did an album called Beware. I think it was.
Oh, okay.
And it's in that album, but like it's one that was really hard. It's very difficult to find that one. It's like one of those kind of more rare albums. So if you really had never, if you weren't like a huge Misfits fan,
You wouldn't have even
maybe
heard it.
never have even heard Last Caress. And then when Metallica put it out, like a lot of people had never even heard it before. They
Right.
were
And so they
Misfits
went
fans.
back and,
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
so then when they released this one, it was like everyone's hearing some of the music that they never
They
even
thought
heard
was,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I can get beat up in certain circles for this, but I'm not the biggest Metallica fan. But I know that they certainly did so much for bands like Motorhead and the Misfits by just wearing those shirts on stage, and the Ramones as well, and I love that because, they had this huge platform and they were able to be like, check these guys
Yeah.
out, and that's just awesome.
And
Right.
I think No Effects also covers Last Caress.
yeah, I believe so.
I think it's their most covered song, maybe.
Maybe.
But until 1995, you really didn't get a chance to hear it unless you had that one album. It was like a single. It was Beware. I think it was like 4 songs on it.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, I
heard
need to
that, like
check
the
that
Where
out.
and then another. And then some of these were on Legacy for Brutality.
But the recording of them
But
was
yeah,
kind of
apparently,
weird.
I think
and
what
I think Glenn
happened,
Danzig went back in. And
he went back in and
Yeah.
he had done all of them. And then when they finally did put out this, the one that I have has the box set just has 14 of the songs, and then the one that I have has the other 3 to make the 17. But it doesn't. Only the CD version, I guess, has the.
In the Doorway was only on the. So like when the box set first came out, if you got that, you got everything but In the Doorway. And then when they like the next year, I guess, or maybe even later that year, in '95 or '96, they released the actual Static Age, and then you hear In the Door, which is a very strange song because it doesn't sound like the rest of the songs on there
Right.
at all. And it was like one of these kind of songs I don't think it was ever actually even fully put together, and they kind of like
Realized as a complete song,
so
yeah.
it's a little bit strange. It's probably my least
Wow.
favorite on the album just because it's so like
Really, it's a strange closer.
it's like it just sounds weird.
It is.
You know?
Well, somebody, like, when I was researching this, somebody pointed out something which I I actually thought was interesting is like the way that they're on this album is very, you can very much see even though they wrote all of them before they got into the studio, but like that there's kind of like an evolution that you have like the, Static Age, and then, it's like it just TV Casualty. Yeah. It's like you see how they...
I think Static Age and TV Casualty kind of go together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, they kind of feel almost like this similar animal.
My favorite song on there is Come Back.
Oh, yeah.
Come Back, Little Raven.
It's a great song. Yeah, why is that?
Favorite. Well, my favorite Misfits song is Cough Cool. And they're very similar, actually. They kind of, some people would say that they actually are kind of like two little...
Now, was Cough Cool the first one that they actually did put out?
Yes, they put it out with She.
Okay, yeah.
First. And it had a different sound to it. And I've always liked, it's always been my favorite. I don't know why. I first heard the Misfits when I was about 12 or 13 years old. But when I first heard them, I heard them via like this little cassette tape that someone at my church, actually, that when I was a little kid, one of my friends was very strange.
My church,
and she's like, I think you might like this. And she handed it to me, and it was just like a mixtape. So I heard it was very badly recorded, and I still loved it. Immediately, I loved the Misfits. I had never heard anything like it, so I was like, when I actually heard the recordings that were actually on like a CD where you could hear everything, I was like, whoa, now that's music. Like, I've just been hearing a bunch of
very
muffled
50s,
stuff.
like almost sha-la-la.
Yeah.
And Tom Waits has this great saying, Tom Waits has a lot of great sayings, but one of them is this, I love beautiful melodies and hooks telling me horrible things. And every time I hear him say that, I immediately think of Glenn Danzig singing for the Misfits.
Right.
Like, it's just like, it's so beautiful and awesome hooks, but it's like, it's rape and murder.
I mean, for sure, right? Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, so some of these, like the way he sings them, because I was thinking, like, I got this, and first I had it on, because I was familiar with some of these songs, but not familiar with the names or anything, because nobody that I was close to around the time that this was, coming out or whatever, like, was really into them enough to, you normally listen to what somebody else introduces you to. So I would hear it here or there, but I was listening to it on my iPod, and I was singing, my little angel bug, I see you going down, and then I'm like, and then I see this, and I'm like, oh.
It sounds so sweet.
It's like Skulls.
Right?
I think Skulls might be the best love song ever. Yeah. It's like, you hear these things.
Yeah,
like,
or Hybrid Moments.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
But the thing is, Glenn, hands down, he's a crooner more than anything. He's like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin.
Yes, a lot of
doing these songs.
Yeah, a lot of his songs are about sex.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well. Oh yeah. But here. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's another thing. I laughed so hard when we were driving here, and I actually looked up. I looked up the lyrics to some of these and sang them the lyrics. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so she. Speaking of when you were talking about she. I thought it was saying, it's like, is she singing? Is he singing? She loves snake incense. He loves eagle's nest. And I'm like, and then you look it up and you're like, what? And then the Return of the Fly. It's just Return of the Fly.
It's
with
very
Vincent
basic.
Price.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, and then he goes, he'll lend along.
Yeah, he just names a bunch of people that are in the.
Sometimes it sounds like he's talking about like lasagna and macaroni.
I mean, for sure.
He didn't say macaroni. He
didn't say. He doesn't say angel bug either. He definitely does not say angel bug.
That's a great song. That is it's a beautiful song.
It's called Angel Fuck.
Yes, I like it.
That's my favorite from the.
So many of these are just super catchy.
I'd put that up there. That's a really good one, man.
It's got a good melody to it.
It's amazing. I mean, it's like you're immediately at 12 years old, you're at church, and you're listening to some tape, and you're singing it at school the next day.
I mean, right?
I mean, it's very catchy, and I've always I loved Elvis growing up, and I've always really liked that kind of that kind of 50s sound, that a lot of the songs, like on this album, I guess the main one that has that sound to it would probably be, Hollywood Babylon kind of has it.
But also that's bluesy, which I love that song as well. But it's very it's almost like Cramps or something, which I love. That's I mean? And that's one of my favorite songs, But it's also different.
Yeah. For 78, so much. I mean, I know this didn't come out then until 96?
They wrote this in probably 76 and 77.
Yeah. But it's like so, Well, they got together in 77, and then they recorded this like I think within like maybe 6 months or just after like 6 months or whatever to do
the
it.
most they were playing for is front of like 50 people back then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and but then
Which
it's
is really cool that they just played Madison Square Garden. I mean,
but
it's wonderful.
to play for 78, it was so much. It created so many genres. You know, I mean, it really did. It influenced so many different things, and what they were doing was really unheard of for that time, especially when you go back and you think of that time.
Right. They were also a lot different with their fans. Like they had the Fiend Club, which was like they gave their fans all kinds of free stuff.
And Danzig did like he ran that for the most part.
Yeah,
Like, he
and
was
they
like I think
handmade
still stringing the shirts and stuff.
Yeah, he hand did
I
a
love
lot
that.
of stuff.
I love that.
He was he is an artist.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, big time.
Visual
I mean,
artist.
listen, you know, you get asked to write songs to Johnny Cash, you're doing something right. I mean, you know, it's extreme talent. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually really liked, I always liked Samain and also Danzig. Danzig's first two albums, to me, are some of the best albums ever. The later stuff I'm not a big fan of. I'm also not really a fan of the Misfits 95, like anything after, like the Misfits after they switched off and became Jerry Only and Michael Graves.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that at all. I have actually seen them though. I saw them at the Masquerade back in 1996, and I had just graduated high school, and well, no, I hadn't graduated. It was in the summer, and I had my
You were about to graduate.
I graduated in '98, but in '96 I had my yearbook in my car, and when I went to see them at the Masquerade, and I remember I didn't think about it, but afterwards we were hanging out afterwards, like with some of them outside, and I was like, I'm gonna get them to sign my yearbook. So I have all their signatures. Now I don't have Danzig's. It's Michael Graves' signature.
Well, 'cause he wasn't with us.
I almost didn't even ask Michael Graves to sign it, honestly though. But then another time I saw them when I think it was in 1998 at CBGB's in New York City.
That's
I
cool.
saw
That's
them,
really
and
cool.
I had a red jacket on, and I had them all sign my jacket, which who
Too
knows
cool.
where that is?
Too
Someone
cool.
stole. I guess someone stole it. I don't
saw
know.
the first reunion show in Chicago about 4 or 5 years ago.
So is Danzig?
When Danzig was playing.
Danzig is playing with them
singing,
now?
Danzig singing, Doyle Jerry, and David Lombardo on drums. It was awesome. I mean, I actually got in it, got kicked in the head. It was so much fun.
You're running so much
Someone got kicked in the
I was like,
head.
did
not in
that
my
girl
life.
just climb on top of a guy, punch somebody, kick me in the head with a Doc Martens? Yes, that was cool.
One thing I learned from researching this is that that I'm trying to remember who it was besides Danzig, but like so the four of them. They opened for the Damned, I believe, and the Damned and Dave Vanian offered them like a tour, or maybe it was Jerry Only like said something about touring with them or setting something up. And so I guess Dave Vanian didn't take them seriously, so he didn't set it up. But they actually went to England, and then they got there, and then Dave Vanian kind of tried, coming up with some shows, and they played a couple shows like opening for them. But then.
They got arrested?
Yes, they got arrested.
That's what
they got
London does.
arrested,
Why did they get arrested?
because this is right. They were waiting to see the Jam, which is why I noticed this. I was like, they're waiting to see the Jam,
Very cool.
and they got in a fight with some Nazi skinheads, and so they got arrested.
And that's where London Dungeon came from.
And that's where London Dungeon
They
came
wrote
from.
it because they were in London.
Man, so cool, man.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh man, the Jam. Anyway,
Sounds like they got themselves into quite
they
a
did get in a London dungeon.
horror movies and B movies, and all of it is presented in this these 2-minute short films, these horror films.
Right.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, they're super
And
short.
then TV Casualty, a lot of it seems to be about, there's a comic book about about a TV that like eats people and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's so weird because they really were nerds.
Yeah,
Like,
he
well, it was
was
like
making
they're like.
comics, and
and
he
then-
actually made
Right,
comics
yeah,
later.
but they were.
Danzig comics.
But
They're
you know,
kind of bad.
when you mentioned the Ramones, like I love that they, I think, became mates real quick, and they supported each other.
Yeah.
So I think the Misfits told their fans to listen to Ramones, and Ramones did vice versa, which I love that. And both of them kind of flirted with bubblegum pop.
Yeah, it's
You know,
kind of
Yeah,
poppy comic.
like a lot of this is it's poppy.
Which, man, I can't believe we ever took the Ramones on the show yet.
I know,
Someone's
right?
gonna talk
Somebody
about
needs
that.
to pick the
Rocket to
Ramones.
Russia, come on. But so I guess what I was going to ask is basically your favorite song and then your least favorite song.
I would say my favorite is Come Back. I just love it. The lyrics are so interesting, and it's really just something about the sound of it. Like I said, I like Pop Cool. And
when in the door just sounds weird,
that
you're
kind of
saying,
thing.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think maybe in the door.
So I love the song In the Doorway, except for not on this album, because it sounds so weird. It's like it goes from sounding, this all sounds great, and then all of a sudden it's like
it doesn't fit.
In the doorway,
Right.
and you're like, whoa, wait, hold on.
I think they kind of freaks and did it on purpose, though.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it was.
Let's mess with it.
And like Spinal Remains, I think maybe those two were not really meant to be, like they might have not been finished. Like Spinal Remains, because like that was called Feline Nursery.
Feline Nursery. And then I think something
else was called Feline Nursery. There's some other song, so they found that out later. So let's call it Spinal Remains then. But they mention a Feline Nursery in the song.
Do they? Okay, because I didn't know that, but maybe
Just
it's
like
because I don't
one
understand what he's saying.
It's hard to say.
But yeah, I think like Feline Nursery was recorded in these sessions, and then something happened to the tape. Like it was, I don't know, somehow the tape got messed up for that part, for that song, and then they redid it pretty much with just altering the words and made it Spinal Remains, I believe.
I think I heard someone, like, when they were recording it, someone, like, came in and hit something.
Yeah, I think something was knocked, and then so it kind of like messed up the tape on that, and they weren't able to use it, so they had to.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the way In the Doorway sounds. I just think it's strange, and I didn't hear, like, I had the box set. It wasn't on the box set. Then it came, and I remember when this came out, I remember thinking, this was when I was like 16, 17 years old. I remember thinking, I'm glad I got that. I remember thinking, I remember initially thinking, this is like a way to get more money, because all this was already on the box set, and they're repackaging, but they added that one song, and I was like, and people are buying it just for that one song, but if they already have the box set.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The thing is
but it's a great album.
Yeah, and up until that point, any of it was hard to get. You had to be a fan in this nerd and spend maybe $100 and get a version from Japan or something. I mean, it was very hard to get.
Which was this your favorite? This was your favorite album, but what was the first one that you heard by Misfits?
The first one that I heard ever was probably TV Castles. But my favorite song is Angel Fun.
Yeah, he just likes saying it. When it comes off, it's like.
It's just
You mean Angel Bug?
Angel Bug. That's what I meant to say.
Right.
That's
yeah.
what I meant to say.
Yeah.
It's allergy season.
It's true. Before I forget, I want to give a shout out to James Joyce,
Yes.
Matthew
Absolutely.
Darrow, B. Kinch. I said Greg earlier, but I'll say Greg twice. Thank you guys. Shout out to James not being here. We're in Alabama tonight. Shout out to everyone who helps, because we have so much fun doing the show.
Yes.
What else do you want to say?
Yeah.
So the one, We Are 138,
Yes.
that has a lot of meaning to me, because I used to play roller derby, and my derby name was Fiend Club.
Really?
And my roller derby number was 138, and so
Nice.
whenever like I would go out to like on the jammer line, like playing the game, a lot of times they would play that song.
Right. And did you ever knock a girl down and be like, just when I am 138, I got you. I got you.
Let them know you did it.
Did you ever do that?
I was a pacifist, really, a derby pacifist.
She's like a really nice roller
You
derby.
can't be a Buddhist and do roller derby, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I always had a lot of fun.
Roller derby's badass.
I would still do it. My
Right.
knee is messed up, but I would still do it. And I didn't mess it up doing roller derby. I messed it up doing martial arts.
Isn't it weird about that? You were the one that I was talking about, right? Where it was just like I broke my foot once just walking. Like I was just walking. It was something just. It was like I was just walking.
Same here. A couple years ago during the pandemic, it was the worst thing
It was
ever.
just like I was just walking. This is like, so what you're basically telling me is it's safer for me just to sit and
Yeah,
just be like sedentary.
I slid on wet grass. I didn't fall over anything. It's just like the worst. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad you're still in one piece.
Yes.
Yeah. I've always loved. They've been my favorite band since the first time I heard them. It never changed. They've always been very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they finally did release this album, because it really is one of their better ones. The sound of it, the quality of it is a lot better than Legacy of Brutality, for sure.
I think
it's got some of the same songs.
And I think it's just interesting also I think that part of what makes it special is, well, if it actually would have come out in '78,
that would have been weird. Different.
It would have been so
Punk rock
different.
completely, probably.
It really would have. But then coming out late, then you look back and you're like, this was done in '78.
Well, I mean, you think
Yeah.
about it now, especially with them doing these reunion shows. Like, I mean, I often talk about saying that Black Sabbath might be the most influential band ever of our rock. I mean, basically for heavy metal, certainly, whatever. And think about how many bands Misfits have influenced.
They have influenced.
Unbelievable. I mean, just the makeup I'm wearing, or just even that whole icon. I believe,
and even the cover. I mean, this is such a cool, with their hands over their face.
I believe the skull is in the top 5 of. So rock and roll icons is the pictures or the T-shirts. It's the Ramones with the eagle, the eagle with the baseball bat. It's the Misfits, the skull, Motorhead, and I believe Rolling Stones is number 1 with their tongue.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be in the top 5 of just
icons,
anywhere, it's like I'm not. One thing you will never see me wear is a Yankee hat. I'm a New Yorker who loves the Mets. I know they're losers, but I love them. And you couldn't pay me $1 million for a Yankee hat, ever. But it's the most famous hat in the world. The Yankee hat. In Japan. Well, you could be in Japan, you'll see someone wearing a Misfits shirt. That's awesome. They love them there.
Yeah.
And it's like, how cool is that? So it gets you to create. Look at the way you smile. Look at the way you smile. Just talking about it. It's wonderful.
Well, what I think is interesting is, well, there's a lot of things interesting, but most bands, when you talk about that have had a lot of lineup changes, usually it's the frontman. It's one of the frontmen who is the consistent.
Right.
But in this, it's Jerry only. Jerry only has been the consistent member in all of the lineup.
Yeah.
I think there was one person that played bass right before him, which was actually a female, I believe. But they didn't record anything. I don't think
that
they
might have been
recorded
true. Like maybe her name was like Diane.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, Jerry only was the only bassist for the. And I've dressed up as Jerry only for Halloween before, for sure.
Excellent.
For sure. I used to be in a Misfits cover band called Wolf's Blood.
Is there a difference in the makeup? When you dress up as Jerry only?
I wore the devil lock. I definitely had the devil lock.
Because he's the one that started that, right?
I had this, hollowed out eyes. Yeah.
Right. And Jerry only is the one that started the devil. And then I think they all did.
But he still rocks it, for sure.
Yeah.
He still rocks it.
Him and his brother, Joel, too. They still, Joel with his own stuff still has it. It's like, it's the best, man.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I'm somebody do Misfits cover band. Let us know we'll come out.
Well, yeah, it was over a decade ago, but that was fun though. I enjoyed playing. I've always loved playing their songs, and they're the best band in my opinion of all time.
They're fun. I didn't have a big connection to this, and this is part of what I enjoy about the show is that if there wasn't somebody to kind of, introduce me to something, even if I had definitely heard of the Misfits and I had heard some of their songs, but if there wasn't somebody around you that actually played it a good bit or got you a lot of times you didn't have the same connection. So I like that I'm hearing new things and digging deeper into things, and because this is such a fun record. I've heard a lot of these songs, obviously, but I've never heard this from start to
and I
finish.
could tell from you because we have had some taste and stuff. You clearly would be more of a Misfits fan than a Danzig.
Yes.
The melodies and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think like a lot of the punk or like the rockabilly, a lot of that stuff. Goes into this.
It's Elvis, totally.
It's
Danzig's Elvis albums, I'm not so sure about. The covers, the Elvis covers, I'm not sure. I don't know.
We may have to put it on later at Hank Williams' grave. Check it out.
Yeah, we could.
I think we probably need to wind up soon.
Well,
I haven't looked at my phone once, by the way.
I am looking at the time, and I think that we are right about 30. So I did not bring a letter, but you want to make up a question just for...
Yes. First of all, again, shout out to Jay and Lyra and all you cats in the audience. This is a live show tonight. We're not going to show the camera show you, but there's a lot of people watching right now. If you both could say right now, is a band that you could be or the Misfits inspired that you love right now. And it doesn't be a band that's out there. It could be a band like it could be a band that like Alkaline Trio, like 2 of their records, and I think clearly they were inspired by the Misfits. So who's a band that doesn't have to be a new band, but a band that you just discovered or been into for a minute now, but you'd be like, holy cow, I can see the connection from here to here. Go.
Well, I'm going to say the Abusements because we are here
Yeah.
at a music show, and these two fine
Yes.
people
Yeah.
are two of the members of the Abusements, and they were clearly influenced
And we're playing
by
with
the
them tonight. It's
Misfits.
going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
I would say West End Motel.
Oh my
Aw.
God.
Because they
Yeah.
played Last Caress.
Yes, and
It's
every
a
person
fantastic cover.
every person who's playing tonight has been at one point or another in Western Motel. So let me tell you, you might be jumping on stage and singing some Misfit songs with us later.
Yeah, I hope you do.
What about you?
It's hard to narrow it down to one band like Monsters. That would be like who isn't?
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a really good point.
Yeah, you know, you can't go anywhere without the local punk scene. Like every band there is at least they at least got one.
Someone's
they
coming
at
out
least got
to
one Misfits
Yeah,
cover in
exactly,
the
yeah.
city. You know?
That's a really good point. Well, man, thank you guys. Thank
Well,
you
what
to-
was your answer, though?
Oh, well, I said Alkaline Trio, and I haven't listened to them in years, but I know a couple of records I did hear. I was dating someone who really listened to them up north, and I was like, oh, I could see this, that
Yeah.
thing, But I'm going to say, I'm going to hang out with my man Jake. Everybody.
Everybody.
That's
It's a hard question.
That's a cool thing. The Misfits have influenced
Yeah,
everyone.
Everyone.
They're classic
Yeah.
punk
Everyone.
rock for sure.
Right.
We're gonna get out of here on that.
Yeah.
And thank
and,
you
and
guys.
definitely another shout out to James because we are
Yes.
in Montgomery and it is a long way.
Yeah.
So he is at home with his family, and this is the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
We'll be missing him, and he'll be back for.
And we get to turn off the camera now and do nefarious things
Nefarious
backstage.
We're gonna party.
Much love, you guys. Cheers. Thank you, James.
Bye.
Lyra.
Thank y'all.
Sweet love.